Yep.
And we'll just let them ask whatever they want. So don't get offended if they come on and all of a sudden just throw a question that's for
Welcome
Karen.
to the conference center.
20
There
campuses,
is
I've
one
heard most
party
of it
in the
before.
conference.
There you go.
You are a
no,
host.
I mean, some people won't even. There'll be people who'll call in that didn't even listen to the first part of the show.
Right.
And right, hey Karen, can you give me permission for the
recording.
that record?
Also, you got to lower your camera, Karen.
Right.
There you go.
Oh, one thing, Peter.
What?
Just in case you see something weird because I'm smoking or whatever, just don't say my name.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Just call you Peanut?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
just don't acknowledge
They
them.
will not see Peanut on
Be
screen.
like, Mark, don't acknowledge me.
Peanut is silent.
Invisible.
He's only in the chat.
Oh, okay.
I may mention Brian in passing, but I try my best to make him separate from Peanut.
There he goes with another cigarette.
What?
You should count for me because I never count. I just assume that he's smoking.
Right.
Karen, you're
Just count
broadcasting
it.
on
Just use your watch. 10 minutes
Yes,
for every
I know.
cigarette, right?
No, our conversation is broadcasting right now.
Oh, you
Hold
should
on.
probably kill your video. broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship, currently at war with mainstream science. Meanwhile, the Peanut Gallery is reading that in early June, NASA announced that it's commissioning an independent study and have rebranded UFOs to UAPs, otherwise known as unidentified aerial phenomena. Wasn't NASA supposedly already doing these things to find LIFE, otherwise known as life? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger in fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Just Google Flat Earth Clues. If you can't find it, well, you're just not very good at the internet. Currently, the show is on Tuesday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And yes, Caroline, if it is not, look at date. July 19th, 2022. Then you are listening to a rerun. Quote of the day goes exactly like this one thing: do not regret what you have done. Regret what you have not done. Speech impediment right away. My co-host, she's lovely, she's sassy, and she's one of the biggest Flat Earth rock stars ever. And she's probably got more Flat Earth ink than anybody else, I'm hoping. Or just ink in general.
I don't know about that.
It's Karen B. Hey, Karen, what's going on?
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Hey, do me a favor, just for the video watching audience. Flash me those Aleister Crowley hands. Sweet. You know, she puts her hands together like 3 people died. Just so you guys know. All right. Hey, Karen. Being the current queen and resident witch of Flat Earth, it must be hard to find Flat Earth friends. Do you know an easy way to find cool people like yourself and solid info about our stationary horizontal level plane?
Why, yes, that would be Flattoberfest 2022. And also the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, Zodiac, and Clock app.
Sure enough. It's the perfect gift for friends, family, and complete strangers. Watch the featured video every day for 2 weeks and see what happens. It'll be the best $2.99 you've ever spent. Don't forget, you can also find this program on BitChute and Brighteon, Rockfin, and Rumble. YouTube is not the end of Flat Earth. It is just the beginning. Shoutouts, obviously, to Flat Earther Stephen Carpenter of the Deftones. He's still on the screen, even though we moved things around tonight.
Yeah, he's still up there. Always with us.
Cool. 1 second. I'm just rearranging a couple things because I knew that somebody was going to send me a last-minute meetup. Go to the Strong.family and check his stuff out, please. Stephen Carpenter of the Deftones, who I got to meet.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I have photos to prove it. You don't.
Wait, what do you have? Oh, you have the photos? Well, you know what I have? Yeah, I got the guitar picks right here in my hands.
I got guitar picks too.
Okay, fine. I've got his lipstick on a collar that I'm never going to wash. Okay?
Stefan doesn't wear lipstick. Come on.
Was that? I may have said too much. Okay, so also we got some meetups. In fact, let me go to my channel real fast and take a quick look at the meetups that are still being promoted on my channel. Just so you know, after the meetup happens, I will just delete it the next day because I've got too much stuff on my channel. So, meetups, what do we got? There's going to be the Flat Earth meetup in Swanage, England, July 26th. So if you guys are in the England area and you haven't expired from all the heat that's happening there, please, by all means, head over to Swanage because it's on the water. It looks pretty nice. Just jump in the water. Might save you. The promo's on my channel, so check that out. Also, there is a meetup. Nope, there is not. Karen, do you have any meetups on your thing? At flatearthfestivals.com?
Yes, I do have some meetups. Well, I added the Globe Light Tour dates there because the Globe Light Tour is touring around, so I added there's a thing there for their dates, and also there is a Northern Spark meetup in Minnesota.
Minnesota, don't you know? Yadder hey, up there by the Iron Range. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Let's take this time, Karen, to let's plug Flattoberfest, shall we?
Ooh, yes, we shall. Yes. Flattoberfest is happening October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of this October in 2022. So let's see. You can go to flatearthfestivals.com and then you go to events and Flattoberfest 2022, and you can go there and see the participants. We're going to have Austin and Kai Whitsitt, Ben Balderson, Mark Sargent.
Oh, that guy.
The
Wow.
incredibly handsome and charming Mr. Mark Sargent.
Oh,
He's coming back. I'm so excited that you're going to be coming back, Mark. You don't even know.
stop it! I'm single. Don't tease me, woman.
Oops, I have to make your picture bigger on this layout. Sorry, my bad. And we're also going to have Marty Leeds and Jason Lindgren, and David Weiss will be there, the creator of the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, Zodiac, and Clock app, and also How the World Works exhibit with Cami Nodell and Zach Zabala, and live music by Chief Crow and the Flat Earthworms, and all kinds of cool vendors, and it's going to be a blast. So
I love the fact that Marty Leeds is going because, as you know, if anyone knows, his story a few years ago, he hated it. He loathed the fact that he made a flat Earth video and it was his biggest hit video on his YouTube channel by a long shot. He's like, what the hell? And this is a guy that's done, if I'm not mistaken, he's done a TED Talk or two, Marty Leeds. And, he does a
TED
flat Earth
Talk?
video. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's done a TED Talk.
has he?
Hasn't he?
I don't know.
Somebody
Has he?
confirm that. I'm pretty sure he has.
I didn't know that.
It could have been a TEDx, but it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty sure he did.
I didn't know that. That's
So,
cool.
but he did a flat Earth video, and it was very, very well done. It was this wonderful layman's look into the phenomena, and he got all these hits for it. And he's like, "Damn it!" It's like you kind of resent the topic at that point. He's like, "I've done all this other stuff, but no, I talk about flat Earth, and everyone loses their minds." So I'm happy for him, but it was kind of like it was fun. Okay, anything else about Flattoberfest?
No, tickets are on sale at the website. They're $144 through the end of August
All right,
before I raise the price again.
very cool.
That's it.
All right, so
It's gonna be a
tonight
good time.
we're doing the what?
I said it's gonna be a good time. Everybody
Yes,
should
it
go.
will be a good time. And if everything goes favorably, I'm going to be there early doing something special, which I'm not supposed to talk about yet because again, until it's happened, it hasn't happened.
Right, exactly.
But I may be doing something pretty cool the week before, so I may be down there. So the week before, but I would be north of you, up at Mount. What was that place? Mount something. Crap.
Oh yeah, David Weiss said, "How about Peggy Hall today?" Did you see that Peggy Hall is down with Flat Earth? You know who
No.
Peggy Hall is?
I do not know who Peggy Hall is.
Peggy
Who's
Hall, she's like this activist woman from California, and she does like tons. Well, speaking of activism, since we're talking about this is an activism
Hey, there's
show.
a segue.
One
A
of the
segue
biggest,
happening.
one of the most, prominent activists that we know of in California, like during the pandemic and stuff, that she was, really for medical freedom and not wearing masks. And she was like an educator in that state for dozens and dozens of years. And so she left it and she started doing her own thing. Yeah, the Healthy American. Anyway, David did a video today released where she says, we need to quit spending all this money on outer space. And she's like, which is fake. And focus,
Nice.
and she said
there's
even
a-
Earth is, and she said, and focus back here on Earth, which is still and motionless. Like she was
Nice.
Yeah, it was like, oh, right on, Peggy.
That's awesome.
I mean, I already loved her, and now she's like even better.
That's really great. So two more things before we get to our guests because we have time. Obviously, by the way, one more last shout out. Last but not least, Truth Smacks. Truthsmacks.com, sharing truth one delicious morsel at a time. Truth Smacks. I still have an unopened bag right here. Very, very good. They're also good if you mix them in with peanut M&Ms. Pretty tasty. Or regular M&Ms.
You're totally making them not healthy by doing that. You know that, right?
What? Was that the point? I thought it was just supposed to be tasty. I
Tasty
like trail
and good
mix.
for you, Mark.
Well, Well, I mean, this stuff, it's good for you, but at the same time, it's also tastes very good. And I always like, I like mixing in other things with stuff like this. So I've just been kind of experimenting. So the latest thing has been peanut M&Ms.
Well, I guess that's better
Which
than pills.
I'm pretty sure is also good for you, I think. Okay, so sorry. I got to bring up two more things real fast before we. I'm sorry to my guest. We're not cutting into your time, I swear. The two other things I wanted to bring up was I got to bring up Alex Stein. I got to give him a shout out for holding the flat Earth flag when he was kind of blindsided with it on that show that he did on the what was the show?
Tim Pool.
The what?
Tim Pool.
Tim Pool?
Timcast.
Tim Pool. He was invited on because he ambushed AOC out in front of the Capitol, and he called her his big booty Latina, which probably shouldn't have done, but it got him, hey, a whole bunch more subs, and she responded, and now he's got even more press. But he goes on this show, on this YouTube channel, and they hit him with the whole moon landing thing, and he wouldn't back down. You would think, he'd be like, I don't want to talk about it. No. He wasn't going to let that go. And he kept going with that thing for 15, 20 minutes. It was awesome. So good for him. And the only thing I want to mention, I will bring this up next week, is the number one tennis player in the world. Well, depending on which ranking you're looking at, our guy, Novak Djokovic. If anyone has any doubts about Novak being a conspiracy person, I've got to mention, remember, this is the guy that was thrown out of the Australian Open because he wouldn't get the shot, right? You know what he did after Wimbledon? After he won Wimbledon? He opened up a tennis court, a tennis club. You know where he opened it?
Where?
The Bosnian pyramids.
What?
I'm not kidding you. It is like a big thing with investors, and he was hyping it up. He's like, oh yeah, I feel so much energy being here. This guy is absolutely through and through one of us. I haven't even been to the Bosnian pyramids. I've been to the real pyramids. I have not yet gone to the Bosnian pyramids. And the fact that he is opening up a tennis club there, and so now he gets to has an excuse to go on a regular basis. Awesome. Very, very cool. I'll share the story with you next week, though. Okay, let's get to our guest. I got an email. This is well, you know what? I'll just read part of the email. This will kind of sum it up. So you guys may or may not know that I went to the Indianapolis meetup fairly recently, and I met this wonderful guy named Peter out there, and he inspired me, and here's why. Mark, he wrote me. He goes, Mark, it was nice to meet you at the Indy meetup on Saturday. I became a flat earther in January 2018. Trump's Executive Order 13864 requires any college that receives federal funding to allow free speech on campus, which is, I think, why Steven Crowder gets away with what he does. I started going to colleges discussing the fake moon landings and flat earth in January of 2020. I try to keep count to gauge interest and see if I need to return in the future. I don't count the people I talk to about the fake moon landings, only flat earth. I usually stay 3 or 4 days at each campus. The numbers are conservative. I have learned to never lead with flat earth. I always lead with the fake moon landings and then explain why they fake them and then flat earth. Perfect. Great strategy. Interest is usually very high. I usually give students a list of some of my favorite videos and a flat earth model. And if you remember, Karen, this is the guy that made all these fun 3D printer flat earth models.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he prints all these things out. And I'm going to have to ask him, I think he said it took like 40 minutes a piece to 3D print these. Right? And I've got a stack of them. and he gives these out on campus, which is awesome. You give him some of my favorite videos in a flat earth model. We'll skip down to, I've been to 20 colleges now in or near home of Kentucky. University of Kentucky, EKU, Georgetown of Kentucky, Morehead State, NKU, Miami of Ohio, Cincinnati, UT Knoxville, IU Bloomington, IU Indianapolis, WKU, USI, IUSE, OSU, OU, Wright State, Purdue, ETSU, Ball State, and Louisville. Awesome. And then he found videos of kids that TikToked him, that videoed him on campus and then put it on their own TikTok. Perfect. You know, when you can get people to be like, look at this guy, what he's talking about. It's awesome. Even bad press is free. Even if kids are making fun of you, it's free. So There we go. We'll talk about the numbers and everything. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you FE campus activist Peter Jarvio. Is that how I pronounce it right, Peter? Are you there?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. Hey, glad to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be on.
So let's get into. Look at the time here. Keep track of my time for me, Peanut. I only see the ember in the background. I don't see him. So, how did you? Let's back it up a little ways. So you got into this in 2018, January of 2018. A little later than some people, but what got you first into the whole flat Earth thing?
Well, I was 12 years old when first time they said they landed on the moon.
Yeah.
And I figured out about probably 12 or 15 years ago that it was fake. I was looking into other conspiracies, big conspiracy person, 9/11, Sandy Hook, Boston bombing, on and on.
Sure.
But I thought that they had faked the moon landing just to beat the Russians and, of course, for the money.
Yep.
But I was on YouTube in January 2018, and they used to recommend the good flat Earth videos. Now they bury them.
Yep.
But they in the right-hand column was something like the best flat Earth video ever, and I made the mistake of looking at it. I had avoided it, but that day I looked at it, and 5 minutes in, it made a lot of sense. So I binge watched for about 2 weeks, and I was totally convinced within the first day or so that it was flat. And
Nice.
But that's why they faked the moon landings, was to give us the first fake pictures of the fake globe.
Very, very cool. When you were binge watching, did you? And you don't have to say,
Yes, I watched Flat Earth Clues.
No. I'm not looking for praise. That's fine. So how many?
Good series.
No, how many times did you watch it? No, seriously.
Oh, I didn't count.
Oh, see, now you're already on my good side. What was there anybody else that you were listening to? I mean, you went down different rabbit holes. Were there other rabbit holes that caught your interest?
Oh, lots of them. You name it. I keep looking for the bottom of the rabbit hole, and every time you think you're there, you find something else that's deeper.
Right. Absolutely. So it still took you 2 years before you didn't get into your campus stuff until January of 2020.
Yeah, I started talking to people at the store and at the fast food restaurants and all.
So you weren't shy. I mean, seriously, how do you walk up to somebody at a grocery store?
Yeah, sure. If I especially target someone that's looking at their cell phone. Because they're already in the matrix when they're on their phone. So I say, do you ever watch videos on your phone? And they usually say yes. I say, well, here's a good video by Marcus Allen about the moon landings. He's a professional photographer. He used to use the same model camera they took to the moon. He goes through the moon photos and shows you why they're fake. And then I go, if they'll listen, if I get their attention at that point, and I'll tell them, do you know why they faked the moon? Well, I give them a few examples. The rover that doesn't leave any tracks sometimes, and the golf photo. Those are two of my favorites. Yep. And then if I can quickly convince them, that put some doubt that the moon landings were real, get them thinking about it possibly being fake, then I ask them if they know why they faked it. And I'll tell them, it was a distraction. It's like a magician. Look at my right hand, but don't look at my left hand. Right. What's going on in the left hand? NASA's given us the first fake pictures of the fake globe. And they lied about that too. And then I'll give them some more videos. And
so it didn't take you very long to become confident enough to go to, to approach. Have you always been this way as far as approaching people?
No, I was very shy people. I never would talk to people. I've learned in the last few years I'll talk to anybody about anything. But I realized when I found out it was flat, I wish somebody had come to me. I was about 61 years old at the time when I found out. And
you don't look it, by the way.
No one had ever come to me and said anything about flat Earth. I said, that might have broken the ice if someone had at least said, by the way, did you know the Earth was flat? But I try to learn from my mistakes, though. I learned from talking to people in the stores and all that you never start with the flat Earth because the programming is, as soon as they hear those two words, flat Earth, they put their fingers in their ears, and the conversation's over.
Yep.
So I always start with something else. I usually start with a fake moon landing.
Right.
Because most people nowadays at least are suspicious about the moon landing. So that's a good way to, or else, what brought the third tower down on 9/11?
Right.
Something else, and then I'll lead into flat Earth.
Nice. That's awesome. I mean, seriously, perfect strategy.
And then I was getting good results there, so I thought, well, I need a bigger audience. And I'd heard about Trump's executive order that allowing free,
And you had never seen, I mean, yeah, the Trump executive order, of course, but you had never seen other people go to campus. I mean, well, again, one of the biggest ones that's out there would be Steven Crowder. He never caught your eye. He goes to campus and sets up a little booth and with a microphone and security, because he touches on topics that people, want to punch him for. But you never heard of the guy?
No, I've never seen that. I'll have to check it out.
Even better. So you decide campus. That is your audience.
I'm about 3 miles from a campus, from one of the campuses. So I just started there. I went on campus and started talking to students, and they're very open to the moon landing, and then I'll lead into flat Earth, and I get pretty good results with at least getting people seriously interested into looking into the flat Earth.
Right.
And then you give them a 3D model. My model holds water. I tell them, you put a little water on the model and make some tiny boats, and it works great. You put water on the ball, it just falls off.
So is it true that each one of these little models you 3D printed takes about 40 minutes to do?
Yep, I'm down to about 37 minutes, but I print 16 at a time on each machine. I have two machines.
Oh, okay.
16 at a time on each machine, so it runs for about 8 hours to print the blue. Then I'll change to the green filament, print one layer, change to the white filament, print 2 layers, and it's done. Nice.
They're very cool, and thank you for giving those to me. So when you're on campus,
yes,
you bring an easel and boards, because
I have 2 easels and 2 posters of the moon landing with moon landing photos, and a little description I wrote up for each photo, and it reads like an eye chart. So from a distance, the first thing you see is fake. Then as you get closer, you see above that moon landings. Then as you get a little closer, you see above that were the. So when you're up close, you see were the moon landings fake. But the first thing that gets your attention from a distance is fake. So, but anyway, that, like I said, that gets a lot of the students' attention.
Yeah.
And then I try to interact with each student I see if I'm not inundated with people. But and then I'll say, did you know the moon landings were fake? And then I'll show them, I'll lead them through a few of the photos, and then I'll ask them. And like I said, I learned a pretty good method before I ever went to campus, but it helps to have the photos with me, so it helps to have the posters.
Right.
But then you never start with those 2 words, flat Earth. You always start with something else. I start with the moon landing, and then lead into the flat Earth.
Right. That is awesome. So I've got a number of questions.
Sure.
When you're, again, when it comes to, because you're doing this by yourself,
yes,
which is all, you don't have anybody there with you.
Right.
Which has got to be somewhat intimidating, because you got a bunch. Did you ever run into groups of students that just they have a group mentality going? It's like, oh, okay, we're gonna make fun of this guy.
Sometimes, not very often. I was at Cincinnati one time, and I was talking I had 20, 30 students around me. They said, time out, time for a group photo.
Really?
So everybody posed, got a group photo, and then, okay, continue. And but usually people are very receptive. People are very good, very receptive. Once in a while, I get somebody that's some hard ass that wants to give me a hard time. But usually people are very, very good.
You see, I'm a little surprised that, and we're coming up to the break. We've got like a minute or so to the break, Karen.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make this question short. Because I've done a limited amount of activism in different places. don't you run into, I mean, percentages say that you have a certain demographic that are heavy science people that would come up and immediately just brace against it. Do you run into people
Sure.
that just are like, what do you think you're doing here? You should go. You know, this is really offensive to me. Do you run into anybody like that?
Once in a while.
But not often.
I say, I have as much right to be here as you do because I've got permission to be there. I've got free speech. So I pay my taxes. So I'm paying for, it's a public university that allows free speech. So you learn to fight back. If you're thin skinned, don't.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you can't
be thin skinned.
No, not for activism. Yeah,
right,
you gotta shrug it off. Absolutely. And it's easier, I think, for flat earthers than most things. Although, again, credit to you because you're going in solo. I don't think I've ever done it solo. We are going to go to our first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Peter some more. And if I run out of questions, or if Karen has other questions, or if Peanut has any other questions, we will open up the floor to anybody out there in the phone world, and we will see what you got. So, don't forget the phone number to call in is 848-222-2480. That's 848-222-2480. Mm-hmm. And with that, music!
All love the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. The best tool to show your friends and strangers how the Flat Earth actually works. But are you ready for a Flat Earth app game changer? A new feature has been added. But first, a reminder of some of the existing features. Video of the day. World time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons. Select an amazing background. Add a countdown to your next big date. Video playlists in different languages. See the real trade winds circling the flat Earth. Top 21 frequently asked questions with quick pop-up video answers. Access to the best photos and GIFs at your fingertips. Flat Earth books and merchandise, and more. Now, the game-changer upgrade we've always dreamed of having. After a year in development, our app just went next level. You're now able to find Flat Earth app users near you. See where they are and send them an instant message in the app. Instantly arrange for a Flat Earther meetup. When activated, blue dots mark the location of the app users near you. You have 3 choices on showing your location. PP, to pinpoint. This marks your exact location. CC, for city center, which will place you within a few miles of your current location. Or turn off, which removes you from the map altogether. Use it when traveling, or when you're out for a day at the beach, or while eating out somewhere. Find out where other Flat Earthers are and connect. Find like-minded Flat Earth app users and regain your sanity. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is the best tool to show your friends and strangers how our Flat Earth actually works.
Join me, Karen B, every moon day in the early light, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, on Rockfin, Twitch, and Facebook for an early light chit-chat. Open phones, open topics, always chill. I hope to see you there.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 2 of 4. It's you, me, and Karen B. And yeah, you know what? That was Joe Jackson stepping out from his album
Night and Day.
Yes, indeed. Special guest tonight is Peter Jarvio, Flat Earth campus activist. Well, just activist in general, where he evolved from grocery stores and fast food joints to making the huge leap to campuses. And not just one campus, 20 different campuses all around his area of Kentucky. And Peter, are you still there?
Yes.
I want to ask you this real quick because I'm looking through the email and I want to confirm these numbers with you because you've been tracking these. Not only do you go and flat smack as many people as you can, you keep track of them. So in 2020, spring semester, you flat smacked 618 people. Fall semester, 2020, 1,514 people for a total of 2,132 that year.
And those are conservative numbers. I try to keep an accurate count, but most of the time, sometimes I undercount.
What are you using for a count? You know what
Just
you really
a clicker.
Yeah, I was about to say you're using a baseball clicker.
Yeah.
Nice, perfect. You guys don't know what a baseball clicker is. The umpires use that in the background to keep track of ball strikes and fouls. But what else? It's been a while since I've even seen a clicker. You just keep going. I mean, it just keeps going. There's a counter, and it'll just go one at a time.
Yep.
No, nice. In 2021, spring semester, you had 277 people, but fall semester, you kicked it into high gear with 3,641 for a total of 3,918. And then we get to this year, spring semester, gangbusters, 2,562 people. Fall semester, we haven't counted yet. So a grand total of 8,600 and change. Impressive. So also let's get the details down so that people don't think it's like this guy's a complete fraud. I want you know the names better. This will take a couple minutes. UK, University of Kentucky. EKU,
let me go through it.
Okay, do it.
Yeah, UK is University of Kentucky. Yep. EKU is Eastern Kentucky University. And by the way, you said Kentucky, Kentucky and neighboring states.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, Georgetown of Kentucky, Morehead
Yep.
State. Northern Kentucky University, Miami of Ohio, University of Cincinnati, University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Indiana University, Bloomington, Indiana University, Indianapolis, Western Kentucky University, which is in Bowling Green, University of Southern Indiana, Indiana University Southeast, Ohio State University, Ohio University, Wright State University, Purdue, East Tennessee State University, Ball State, and Louisville.
Wow,
So
that is impressive. And how did you pick them? Just
I go to there's a lot of websites, but I pick the large public universities. I'm right for now. I'm trying to stay over 10,000 students.
right.
So the larger public universities, I go by distance or drive time. I'm up to about 300 miles in 4 hours right now.
Wow.
And I've got some planned for when semester starts in August 7th. I think the semester starts for most schools.
Well, you've got a system that apparently is working because you haven't gotten thrown out. You haven't been rode out of town on a rail.
I only got thrown out once.
Oh, tell me about it.
It was my fault. Each campus, like I said, if they're even private universities, if they receive federal funding, they have to allow free speech. But each campus has different policies, different systems. So some require a permit, some require no permit. You just show up on campus and start talking to students anywhere outside. One campus even allowed me inside, but it was better outside. Better location was outside.
Sure.
But anyway, it's a good idea to call ahead to each university, get permission, find out if there's a permit required. Like my campus in town, 3 miles from me, I have to get a new permit every month. I just got my permit approved for August, so I'm good to go for August when the semester starts. You find out what restrictions there are. Some campuses have a free speech zone or free speech area. Some schools it's anywhere outside. Some schools even allow you inside some certain buildings. So I usually set up mostly outside, get my permission, get a permit if I need it. I set up usually outside near the student union building where there's a lot of foot
Of
traffic.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just set up my posters and start talking.
Now,
The one campus I did get kicked off of.
Yeah, what
So
was it?
I showed up and I thought I had permission. I called the state, the main school in the state. This was Indiana.
Yeah.
And I thought I had permission for all the Indiana colleges. No, there's only certain colleges that are associated with other certain colleges. So the one I went to, I thought was associated with Bloomington. Turned out it wasn't. I said, "Oh, my mistake, my bad." And I left because I realized I needed a permit. I didn't have one, so I came back a week later with a permit and talked for 3 days.
Oh, so you were only temporarily.
Yeah. Usually they'll talk to you before they put the handcuffs on. I've never gotten the handcuffs. I've just been asked to leave that one time. And another school, I was indoors, and they said, "Well, you can't do this indoors." So so it's been a learning process for me.
Sure. No. I want to know more here. So when you get a permit, what is the permit? What is the permit exactly for?
It's for, like, for instance, Morehead State.
Yeah.
They have certain free speech zones. You can pick from 4 zones. So I call ahead. Sometimes you have to have a paper permit, but you call ahead, get the permission.
And no, I mean, when you apply for it, you're applying for a
time period, a week or 2 weeks.
But
And I go 8 to 5 or whatever hours I want to talk to people. And I say, can I come on campus from Monday through Friday on these dates and talk to students and get approval. Then I'm good to go.
Got it. So a couple more questions along those lines. Do you see, I mean, so when you go into like a free speech zone or
Yes.
whatever you want to call it, do you run into other people like yourself that are doing other topics?
Yeah.
Or canvassing things like, a clipboard, trying to get signatures, that sort of thing.
Once in a while, not very often. There's not too many people doing free speech on campus. I did show up at one school, and there was a Christian group just 100 yards away doing evangelizing. And they said, one guy came up and talked to me. He said, he happened to be a flat earther. His friends were not.
Really?
Yes. So he says, "Would you come debate us about the flat earth with one of their guys that believes it's a ball?" And I said, "Sure." So I went over and we had a public debate on the subject. It was ad hoc, and we didn't. It was a lot of people, a lot of students, maybe 100 students listening, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish there was more people. Yeah, when you get a polarized thing where you have someone that goes against you, which is why, again, people underestimate the power of the villain. You got to have somebody. You have somebody there. You get that back and forth going. People want to see it, and they want to film it. Which leads me into another thing, which is when did it first occur to you that students were recording you and posting this online?
Well, I showed up at Purdue, and I was there Monday through Thursday. I wanted to stay another day, but I was running out of supplies, so I didn't have enough for Friday. But anyway, I was there, showed up on Monday morning, and Tuesday, I forget what time it was, somebody came up to me and he said, "Oh, did you know you were on TikTok?" And I said, "No." He says, "Well, you've got 500,000 views." And this was on a Tuesday. So word was traveling pretty fast. I thought I'd go straight to the heart of the vampire, put a stake in the heart of the vampire at Purdue, because 4 Apollo astronauts graduated from Purdue, and also Neil Armstrong used to teach at University of Cincinnati, so that's always a lot of fun.
Now at Purdue, did you run into? Because I don't know the campus. Were there statues of astronauts lying around?
Yeah.
Did you set up in front of the statue, or were you not allowed?
No, because there's not as much traffic there.
But they have too bad.
Right. Well, no, they say there's his statue right over there. But Purdue was great because there's one main sidewalk, and it seems like everybody on campus goes down the one sidewalk. So I got a lot of people at Purdue. It's a lot of fun.
That's great. So people are posting on TikTok, but I would imagine that there's a lot more that are just taking. I imagine there's phones up taking pictures of you all the time.
Yeah, I've heard I'm on Twitter. I've heard they've told me what some of the social media I'm on. People have recorded me and uploaded to, but that's the only ones I've seen is the ones on TikTok.
Some of our.
I sent you four links.
Yep, and I did watch those, and those did not surprise me. I would imagine though, if those four are out there, there are probably a lot more. The problem is they're going to be a little tough to find the title, because the kids are, we're talking Gen Zers here. They're going to name it all sorts of different ways.
Right. I never did find the one with 500,000 views.
Do you remember what campus it was?
That was Purdue.
Purdue. Anyone listening, we have some wonderful researchers that listen to this show. See if you can find a TikTok video about a flat earther on Purdue campus.
Now, there is the one I sent you was from Purdue. It was about 30 seconds long.
Yeah,
but I did not.
But that one wasn't it.
That was a small number of views, but I never did find the one from Purdue with 500,000.
So when kids, sorry, I got to keep checking the time here. When kids come by, and I have to call them kids because I'm old. When kids come by to take pictures of you, do you get kind of a feel of an average of how much time they stay? Do you get a couple that like take a couple shots and leave, or do you get kids that will take selfies with you, or a lot of
selfies?
Yeah,
and some people will stay, just for a few seconds. Some will stay for hours and just hang around and listen to my talk, discussing it with other students. Those are the people.
Those are the people. Anyone that stays longer than 10, 15 minutes, you're in their head at that point.
Oh, yeah, for
sure. Especially anyone that's willing to ditch, because if you're staying there for 2 hours watching you, you're missing class.
If they have some free time.
Oh, I bet you though. There's some people. It's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to miss this next thing. I don't have to be there. Right. I'm totally staying. I
tell them they learn more in 5 minutes from me than they're going to learn in a semester in class.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? You're opening up minds.
I'm blowing their minds.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you're giving them. There's a dollar value.
I'm giving them the truth.
Yeah, there's a dollar value associated with the education you're giving them. Now, one other thing, when you. Sorry, I'm trying to cover all the angles here. When you're there, because you stay on campus for a few days, right?
Yeah, I usually stay 8 or 10 hours. Sometimes until it's too dark to read the posters. Then I figure it's time to leave for the day. But I'll be back in the morning, 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning. And
now, do you tell people it's like Vegas style? It's like, hey, I'll be here all week. And do you see repeat people?
Sure, and they send their friends. They go get their friends and say, "Hey, you got to go listen to this guy." That's a lot of word of mouth.
That is awesome. Seriously, the endurance alone, I am impressed. I mean, I
enjoy it. I take great pleasure.
Well, come on, man. You could not do what you do and didn't. If you hated what you did, you'd never be able to last.
I love it. I love
8 hours a day on a campus, and you go multiple days and multiple campuses, and you travel hours out of your way to do it. You're getting committed. You're getting some sort of an emotional rush out of this when it happens. So it must be a very captive. What usually happens when with groups like that is you get a captive audience that you can tell they're just hanging on your words. Do they throw? Well, sorry, I keep checking the time. Crap, we got to go to our second break, don't we? No, we're not. We're okay, right? We still have time. Still got 10 minutes, right? 8 minutes.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
8 minutes. Okay, good. Let me get into some other things because eventually we do want to pick up some calls. We'll pick up calls. I swear, guys, in the third segment. With all the people you're talking to, you must get a standard series of questions, but those questions might be a little different than the ones we get, on this show and other people's podcasts, and because we, as you know, the part of the whole flat Earth process is you just get hit with waves and waves of questions to the point where David Weiss got so lazy he just printed up this massive Q&A section on his app. I'm not saying that he's lazy, but I am. So. What are your top 5 questions that you get from students that you think?
Oh,
or not even top 5, just top whatever any questions that come to mind The ones you get the most often, you think?
Um,
What do you think they start with? Because remember, you're going after the moon stuff.
I usually give us get as much information as I can in a short amount of time as I can.
Right.
Some people, if I get a good location, I can even walk. They're on their way to class. I'll walk with them for, you know, 50 or 100 yards, and if it's advisable to do that. But then I don't know. I just try to just shovel in as much information as I can. Give them the videos, give them a model, and say I'll demonstrate sometimes. I'll say, I go with a 3-inch foam globe that I can squeeze down, and I use that for my little demonstration of the distraction.
Sure.
And I'll say, watch this, and I'll pour water on the globe, and it just falls off, and I'll pour water on the flat model, and it works perfectly.
Yeah, that would drive a scientist nuts because they'd be like, well, that's not how it works in space.
I didn't say I am retired. I've got 2 degrees. Got a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, and I've got a master's degree in business, an MBA. So I say, well, how many degrees do you have? And they'll say, well, I'm working on my first, and I'll say, well, I've got 2 degrees. I've got a bachelor's in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in business. Yeah. And I say, they say, well, you don't know anything about gravity. I'll say, well, gravity's still a theory. It's never been proven. And so I just try to keep ahead of the situation, but I'll try to answer every question they can put to me. I think I've heard most of the questions, but I just rapid fire trying to answer it as it comes.
Being on American campuses and the fact that you've got big foam boards out there that are basically saying the moon landings were fake.
Yes.
Do you get a lot of patriotic or pushback, or is Gen Z?
It's hard to argue with the photos.
That's true.
They're NASA's photos, except for the golf photo.
Right.
But it's hard to argue with pictures worth 1,000 words, and it's hard to argue with the fake pictures.
I watched. Go ahead.
One guy at Purdue did go online on was it TikTok? I don't know. He went online and wrote a rebuttal to my. He wouldn't talk to me face to face, but he went online and wrote a rebuttal of all of my photos. And then, so I found that about a week after I was on campus, and I wrote a response and went through point by point explaining why his position was wrong. But anyway, it's hard to argue with the fake photos.
Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've heard part of your delivery when, because you brought the boards to the Indianapolis meetup, and your tactics are very, very solid in that you're hitting them fast with a lot of things. And when you have the photos to back them up, that usually it stuns them for a second or two, and they can't recover. And by the time you made it to the next point, they got nowhere. They have nowhere to go because they've forgotten the first one.
Right. They're dependent on their smartphones. And if they can't look it up on their smartphone and see, okay, why is this golf photo real and not fake? If these young kids, they're too dependent on their technology. They can't. It's hard for them to debate real time.
And that's a good point, because you would have lurkers. I just made up that term, by the way.
Yeah, sure.
You would have people in the background with their smartphones typing in something that you're telling something else. It's like, oh yeah, I could find this out. And then they've got all the time in the world. They're going to be like, they're trying to figure it out. And if they can't figure it out, they're probably just going to walk away. Or, I mean, have you ever had someone come back holding the phone in his hand? It's like, look, this article here says blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, sure.
And you usually just, deflect and defer and say, no.
No, for instance, on the golf photo, the mainstream excuse is that the publisher faked the photo.
Really?
The photo comes from a book, Alan Shepard's book, Moonshot, published in 1994. And in the credits, he credits NASA for the photo, but that excuse doesn't fit the facts.
Right.
The facts are that NASA used to have that same photo on display at Cape Canaveral, Cape Kennedy, until Marcus Allen called him out on it.
Yeah.
And he called him up one day and said, "Why do you have that fake photo in the museum at Cape Canaveral?" And they say, what do you mean fake? And they
Yeah.
said, well, both astronauts are in the picture. Who pushed the shutter button?
Yeah.
Because it's a manual Hasselblad 500 EL.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a manual camera, no remote, no timer, no remote shutter. And so who pushed the shutter button? So they
Right.
hung up the phone on them, but they did take the picture down.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me when I was at the Houston Space Center, and you probably heard it if you've listened to this before, where they had the Robert Simmons,
Yep.
the first iPhone image with all the cloning tools in the Southern Hemisphere.
Sure.
And I couldn't have been, I was as shocked as anybody to find that it was sitting inside the space shuttle that was right outside the front door of the Houston Space Center. And I'm showing the documentary team, I'm going, look, this shot right here is absolutely manufactured, and NASA has it sitting inside their space shuttle because they own the rights to it. Now, there was no caption or anything below it.
No disclaimer.
No disclaimer. No disclaimer. But going, look, here it is. And it was blown up on top of it. It was the size of, I don't know, it was a 3-foot by 2-foot image. And I said, look, here's all the cloning tools in the Southern Hemisphere. You can see it right here in front of you. And they did not want to even address it. It was not part of the narrative.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Someone brought that up at a NASA employee was giving a lecture somewhere,
Yeah.
and he brought up the golf photo, and they said, we don't have, I think it was in Australia or something. Guy said, or England. He said, I don't have time for that claptrap. It's what's one of the meanings for NASA? Never a straight answer.
Never a straight answer. Yeah. The golf thing bugged me, and I know we're going to break here in a second. Peanuts reminded me where I got to bring this up though, and then we'll go to break. Which is the part that bugged me more than anything about the golf stuff, not just the still shots, but the video. Because there's video of them trying to hit the golf balls. Is that they try to make it lighthearted, but at the same time, and that part worked, which was it misdirected people from the overarching theme that everybody missed, and that was when you're on the moon, there's only 2 people on the moon, and you can see the Earth in the distance. The only thing you would care about is not dying. That's the only thing you would care about. Nothing else wouldn't even make sense. These guys were talking and laughing and joking like they were airline pilots. It's like, if you look to the left, you'll see Yosemite. That whole thing. I know I sounded like Barack Obama when I did that, but it wasn't deliberate. But it's true. They made this golf thing. It's like, oh yeah, everything's super easy on the moon, and we don't have anything to worry about. And I talked to an interviewer the other day. I go, and this guy scuba dived, and I said, what's the only thing you care about when you're scuba diving? He goes, how many minutes of air do we have left? I go, yeah. And the astronauts didn't. The astronauts never ever cared about how much air they had left. They never checked. It's like, we have 20 minutes left. We have 15 minutes. Hey, we have 8 minutes left. We might want to get back in the capsule. No one ever talked about it. Ever. And it just drove me insane that they would do the golf thing but again, it worked because, golf was the thing back then. And anyway, all right, we are going to go to break, and we will come back with Peter. Phone number to call in is 848-222-2480. That's 848-222-2480. And if you have activism questions, if you have general questions, whatever you want to throw at Peter. But hey, you know what? I highly encourage you. If Peter can do this on a regular basis and just tear it up and never get arrested and never get punched, you haven't gotten punched, right?
Came close one time.
Really? Well, we're going to talk about that when we come back. All right, so let's cue music. So I was told, no, that's wrong. I was instructed by Karen B to do a commercial for Truth Smacks. So this is it. So yeah, Truth Smacks, Trail Mix Supreme. This is the Freedom version. Spreading truth one delicious morsel at a time. Yeah, there's a QR code on the back. You probably can't see it very well here, so maybe Karen will put it up on the screen here. Maybe put a nice ding sound to it, like here, ding. or here, or here, but not in front of my face. It's in front of my face, isn't it? The QR code. It's blocking my face. All right, fine. While it's blocking my face, I'll read the ingredients. There's walnuts, pumpkin seeds, dark chocolate, cashews, pecans, coconut sugar, Himalayan salt, raisins, dates, peppermint, and one thing that was left out, which is truth. So, yeah. Truth smacks. And see what I did there? It's in front of my face now, so you can't even see the product. So nice going, editor. Whoever's editing this. Wait, you're showing the bag, aren't you? Ha! See? No, now it's the QR code again. Well, let's try it again. Yeah? No? This is what happens when you don't do all of your own work. You record something, and you hope it's going to turn out well, and you hand it over to the editors, and they completely botch it up. So, yeah. That's it. Truth smacks. One morsel at a time. Something. Buy it. Support Flat Earth people. Welcome back to Strange World, part 3 of 4. It's you, me, and the wonderful Karen B. And tonight is special guest night. We don't do a lot of these, but we have Flat Earth campus activism superstar, Peter Jarvio. Hey, Peter. Are you still there?
Hey. Yes, I am.
So I got to ask, because, you know, anyone that's out there thinking of actually doing their own activism, it sounds pretty safe. However, out of the 8,600, let's just round up. Eventually, you're going to hit 9,000. 9,000 people, the kids you were slat smacking, you ran into a problem. What was it?
Miami of Ohio. One fella comes up. He, of course, didn't like the message. I was talking about the fake moon landing being fake and the Earth being flat.
Yeah.
He was getting upset, and it looked like roid rage. steroid rage.
Yeah.
But he started getting closer and he was getting red in the face. But luckily, he had 3 or 4 friends with him and they could see what was happening. So they intervened before he could do it, before he did anything. But
Really?
that's the closest I've gotten. I get the finger, on a fairly regular basis. But I take that as a badge of honor. I usually thank them for doing it. But and I get called some choice names. That's fun.
Sure.
But if you've got a thin skin, you're not going to be flat smacking people anyway.
Right.
A lot of people know it's flat, but they won't discuss it. They just back down. Like I said, I just try to, because I spend a lot of time on campus and I'm, but never in my life did anyone approach me about either one, the fake moon landing. Well, I think probably some people had mentioned the moon landing being fake, but
right.
I don't remember anyone ever even suggesting that the Earth might be flat. So I just look at it as an opportunity to, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it when you see the light turn on in their eyes, when they finally realize they've been lied to, and that's why NASA exists, is to fake things and to lie to them. Yeah. But when you see the light come on, it's worth it.
Awesome.
It's worth the effort.
Last thing before we pick up some phone calls. When you're out there, do you, because you have people that you hook.
Disagree.
Well, no, not those.
Some
guys.
disagree, but
the lurkers.
A lot of them I convince. Yeah.
The ones that are in the background. Do you ever see any that will go get a sandwich or something or a snack and come back?
Sure.
Awesome.
Yes.
That again, that's when that's when it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to spend some time here. I'm going to get a beverage. Have you ever? All right, last one, I swear. Have you ever had anyone go get a chair, a folding chair or anything, and come in and just park themselves in a corner and just sit there and listen?
Usually they stand, but I've had many that have stayed for hours just to hear.
That's amazing that they would stand. Seriously, Gen Zers, that is impressive all the way around.
Even some old fellas.
Really?
I got one at. I usually address him as old guy, as opposed to the students. But I got this one old guy on one campus, and he said, "Old guy," I said, "Old guy, did you know the moon landings were fake?" And he said, "If you keep calling me old guy, I'm not going to talk to you." I said, "Well, what should I call you?" He says, "Call me Mr. Provost." So I said, "Mr. Provost, do you know why they faked the moon landing?" And he said, "No." And I proceeded to tell him why they faked it, that the Earth was flat.
Yeah.
And then I went home and looked up in the dictionary what a provost was.
What is it?
He's second in command to the dean of the university. So now the provost knows why they faked the moon landings.
Nice. Well played. Really, I have never. Now I know something new. The fact that he would identify by his title. That's great.
I enjoyed it. I got one at that same school. It was one of the parents. They were visiting the campus, I guess, and he was a 34-year NASA employee. And he says it can't be fake. And I proceeded to explain. To him, and then I had him pretty, because he said, "Well, I said only a handful of people at NASA knew it was fake. Everybody else was."
Yeah, if you let him off the hook like that, then yeah.
Yeah. I got one girl. Well, this is off the subject, but I happened to do the Kentucky Derby this year just to test the waters.
Sure.
And I got one woman, one older lady. She says the moon landing had to be real. I swam in Neil Armstrong's pool because it's near. It's
oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, that makes all the difference, right?
Okay. Before we take the
call, and of course you know why they chose Neil.
Why?
His middle initial is A. What's Neil A spelled backward?
Alien.
Duh. That's how they communicate with each other. These little clues, these little tidbits.
Hey, before I pick up this first call, what made you jump from campus to the Kentucky Derby, of all places?
For an audience.
It's just like, oh, Kentucky Derby's in town.
I found out after one trip to the Derby, people are in such a hurry to get inside or to leave. They don't. They don't have 10 seconds to listen.
Right.
So I skipped. I won't do that again. But I did go to a big festival in Cincinnati,
nice.
where people and I had great results there.
Very cool. I know David's done a few festivals, but I don't think he's taken easels with him. All right. With that, callers, I swear I haven't been ignoring you. And I know, let's grab the first one that's been on hold for 73 minutes. Whoa. Appreciate you. Here we go. 505. Are you listening or do you want to talk?
No, I want to jump in. Mark, Karen, Peter. Yeah, happy Strange World night. Hey, this is a great show. Peter, you give me a lot of encouragement. I haven't done this in way too long. Thanks a lot. I'm going to get back out there. You made me laugh, too, with the ball. With the water on the ball, I've done that, actually, and it's pretty funny. They get a shocking look. It's almost like you shock them back into reality when you're pouring water on a ball. And
that works well.
Really great. With that, go ahead.
That works well. I've also got 2 little Mario figures. Of course, the regular Mario, which is red, white, and blue, and I've got one that's Luigi that's green, and I show them. This is what you believe: Mario, red, white, and blue Mario, right side up. Green Luigi upside down in Australia. I said, this is what you believe, and then I show them what I believe. Nobody upside down because it's flat, and that's what visuals work well with students. But I like the ball with the water, and I like them. I bring out Mario and Luigi as often as I can. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Wow. No, not at all. I'm just enjoying hearing all your. This is so encouraging, just hearing all your experiences. So, are you? Do you find a particular? I know you just mentioned that you had a hard time in Miami with that one guy, but do you find a certain geographic area or maybe a particular demographic that is just not having any of it at all, and they're just really closed-minded?
Sure, I get a lot of those, but for the most part, people are very receptive. I've had very good. And you don't have to. I go 3 or 4 days. That's my method because I have to travel. I hit all the ones close to me pretty quick, so I have to go further distances. But if you've got a university or a school near you, call them up, get permission, and if you can go for 1 day or half a day or go at lunchtime, go for it. Test the waters. See how you like it. I thoroughly enjoy it. There's nothing in the world I think I'd rather do than flat smacking students on campus.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, no, It's got to be killer. Sounds like an adventure every time you go out. And God bless you for it. And I'll let you get on to the other call. Thank you so much, and God bless you for doing what you're doing, Peter. Thanks a lot, Mark and Karen, and shout out to Jan. Jan, call in. We haven't heard from you.
Okay. Thanks, man. All right. Let's jump over to, not him because he's just listening. Hey, you know what? We're going to go out to dreary old Manhattan. 646, you, me, Karen, Peter. What's happening, Alex?
Oh, what are you doing?
We're talking about activism and flat smacking people.
It's my favorite night. It's my favorite night of the week. Peter, dude, I got to tell you, there's a lot of love for people like you in this community. There's like 2 divergent sort of narratives that happen with presenting this sort of stuff to people. There's one which is, the flat smacking, which is you're doing, and I truly believe that's important. And you bless your heart because you take all the arrows for the rest of us. I've always been of the Socratic method. It's just like, okay, well, I can show you something. What do you think about this? Here's a door. You can walk through it if you want to, but you have to make the choice to walk through it. Talk to me a little bit about how's your soul been? Like when you're taking arrows from people, what do you do? How do you do it? How do you soak it in? The hate that you probably get on campuses. Tell me.
I just brush it off. I'm a Christian. I've got the truth on my side. I take great pleasure exposing the lies, and I hate being lied to. I hate the lies, and so I just blow off the bad stuff, and I just soldier on.
Yeah. I mean, what's the worst thing that's happened to you? What's the worst arrow you've taken?
Just name it. I get some called names, of course. So I got some minor vandalism at one campus. They stole a couple things that weren't worth anything. One campus, I had my backpack had open, which was a mistake, but somebody stuffed a half-eaten burrito in my backpack. But usually, like I said, usually the reception is very good. Most people at least respect that I have the guts to do that, even if they disagree with the message. They just respect that I have that I'm out there doing this. So I get in general, it's a very positive reaction. I get very few haters.
I mean, you have massive balls, because I've seen Witsit do this and get raked by cops, local, politicians and places like that.
I've been approached by the police. I was just approached by the police at Louisville. I talked to somebody that did the free speech for 20 or 30 years at Louisville, and he told me a good method how I should do this, because Louisville is a strange case. It has a 3-hour limit on free speech. So he said, well, if you go to this particular location, you're on a public sidewalk. There's no time limit. So I was out there for a couple hours, and the campus police approached me, and they say, well, you're not supposed to be here. And I said, well, I talked to this so-and-so. It usually helps to have you call ahead, get permission, and have the phone numbers and the contact names if you need it. I found that out from experience. So I said, well, I talked to so-and-so. They told me, and this is a public sidewalk. And they said, and they just had to turn around and walk away.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, we certainly appreciate you doing that stuff. I can't even do it. I can't bring myself to actually, I'll yell when there's people around me, but I'm just I don't want to shout at NPCs directly at their face, because then it just it usually ends up blowing up in your face,
Really?
And, we're talking about a triggering. You're talking about you're triggering somebody. What you're basically doing is you're bringing up a topic that's going to trigger somebody, make them mad.
The big trigger is flat Earth. So, like I said, I never start with that. The moon landing is a lot more. You'd be surprised how many people are suspicious of the moon landing, especially college-age students. And if they do say, "Oh yeah, I knew it was fake already," well, I say I'll try to address everybody. I say, "Well, did you figure out why they faked it?" Because very few people know why they faked it, and the main reason was to give us the first fake pictures of the fake globe. So I'll hit them with that. So you try to approach every demographic: those that know it's fake, those that are suspicious, those that think it's real. The ones that think it's real, you say, well, try to explain this picture to me. And, and you don't have to do what I do. You don't have to go 3 or 4 days on every campus. I go several campuses. If I get a good weather, I'll go for a day, the ones near home. And, my total initial investment for my 2 poster boards was maybe $20-$30. So I tried it. I enjoy it. I had good results. So I just kept going.
So I want to leave you with this. The big question, and this is what I have found in my experience of talking to people about this. The biggest trigger is the spiritual question. You're actually challenged to ask the question about the spiritual thing.
Yeah, I love.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It was the hardest one for me. I was like, I have to actually deal with this spiritual thing now, because it appears as though it's intelligently designed. Holy shit! I had a meltdown. For the first fucking 2 weeks.
That's the purpose. That's the point. That's the whole point. That's why they're telling us it's a globe, because that's the Earth for atheists. You can't once you know it's flat. It's an intelligent design. There is no Big Bang. That goes out the door. So that's the main reason I go to campus is get them thinking.
Yeah, changes everything
about the designer who made this flat Earth with a dome, with a blue dome.
Yeah, and there's for me, for someone that has not been around church my whole life, I don't have any dogma or religion in my life whatsoever. I had to answer to something that I hadn't talked about myself about for years.
Sure.
And I had to face it. And that's the tough, big spiritual question. And I think that's the trigger word that's problematic for most people that actually look at this topic, because they have to turn around and answer to something that they've put off or shoved down in their subconscious for years, which is, am I nothing or am I part of something designed? Right.
Sure. Right.
I mean, I'm on the right track here.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're doing it in real time on campuses, which I give you massive kudos for, because like, I mean, again, I'm just one of those people where I'm like, you want to know about it? Okay, here's a few little nuggets. You chase them. I'm not going to push you through it. I'm not going to take you through it. Right. But I mean, like, you, bless your heart, man. That's all I got, man. And thank you for doing what you're doing. That's all I got, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Cheers.
Yep.
Bye.
All right. Let's go out to your neck of the woods, North Carolina. 919, it's you, me, Karen B, and Peter Jarvio. What's happening?
Hello.
Oh, hey. Is this the first time you've ever called in?
Hello.
Hey, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank all of you. This terrific show, and Peter is just a superstar. What he's doing and reaching all those people is tremendous. Thank you, Mark, for your program, and Karen B for all your work. I'm going to be at the Flattoberfest, and I'm hoping that
I'll be there.
I get to see Peter there.
I will be there. I will be there.
Awesome.
Oh, I'll look for you. You're just tremendous, brother. What you're doing and your approach is fantastic.
Thank you.
Mark, I have another question. Is there any possibility I could speak to somebody off air?
Maybe. What are we talking about?
I got a thing I got to tell somebody about.
Okay, well, tell you what. You have what? I will talk to you. Probably not tonight because the show runs pretty late. But my phone number is in the description box of every video I make, and my email address. Either drop me a line there or shoot me a voicemail, and I will call you back.
Can I leave you a voice message on the phone number you're talking about?
Yeah. You can leave a voicemail while I'm doing the show if you want. That's fine.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll get that number on the description box of the screen. It's now I'm looking at Karen B's channel on YouTube.
No, it's
where
not that number.
In fact,
I'll just give you the phone number. You ready?
Just a minute, I'll do it. Hold on.
All right, here. All right, you ready? You just let me know.
Now go.
Okay, ready? 303 494 6631. That's my cell phone.
Say it one more time.
Okay, it's 303 494 6631.
Say it again. It didn't come through.
Okay, 303. You got that part?
303
494.
Yep.
6631.
Yep, 6631.
Got it. Thanks. I'll leave you a voicemail and you can just deal with it.
Okay, thank you. See ya.
Thanks for your...
Yep. I never had to get my phone number out that many times. It's in the description box. And by the way, that is a credit to how lazy or cowardly trolls are. Because you'd think with my phone number out there, you could Google Mark Sargent's phone number right now. It will show up on screen. You don't have to go to special ID sites or anything. It's just going to pop up on screen. Thank you for whoever's texting me right now and blowing up my phone. But you would think that the trolls would just inundate me. I mean, if Professor Dave had an ounce of credibility, he could just say, blow up Mark Sargent's phone, or blow up, and now my phone is actually blowing up, or blow up his email and stuff, and it never ever happens. Anyway, all right, let's go to, who are we going to go to? How much time we got? We still got time. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Let's go out to Texas, 325, out in Abilene or whatever you call it. What's happening?
Well, I'm actually in Clyde.
Oh, okay.
Middle of the frying pan here in Texas.
Nice. How hot is it today?
It was 108 today here.
Woo! 108.
But
That's 4 degrees. That's 4 degrees hotter than London. Go ahead.
Yeah, really. Something I don't know. The sun's different. I mean, I've been here forever, and it's like they turned up the UV or I don't know some other crap. But I'm used to 104, 102, 100.
Yeah.
But 108 feels like 160. My poor plants. Anyway, hi guys.
Hi.
I'm a first-time caller, but I have an important question. I want to get it quick because you got lots of callers. I'm an artist. Got a bachelor's in fine arts, so I paint, I draw. Lots of other things to go through on that, but I'm also a mechanic. So my point is I've been everywhere. I've been in the Army. I was 8 years in the Army as a mechanic. Been to war. I've been to top of 2 mountains. And the point is, I was gobsmacked when I found out. Because I'm an artist, Half of my paintings that are supposed to be realistic, I'm sitting here looking at them going, holy shit. Oh,
it's
my
okay.
bad.
It's not a family show. You can swear.
But it got me. Oh, it really got me, okay? So this was last year, and as I'm going through this, I've done a few paintings now. Now, here's my deal. You guys know who Jason Q is? He's got a map behind him on a couple of his shows where it shows us with the flat earth, with our little ice ring around us, and then the area around where it's supposed to be the picture of the moon. But he's got other areas which are Mars and Venus and whatever. My point being is I'm working on a painting, and I'm wanting to know if you guys can help me. I'm working on a painting. It's a flat earth painting, and I want to take the flat earth and it's got our firmament dome, right, which is how we get our rainbow, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I'm trying to think how to put this. You know how you guys tell us that our ring moves around like a clock?
You mean the sun and the moon? Or just the dome in general?
Well, our area in general, our sun keeps our area free of ice. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and as we move around in our area on the 12 parts of the zodiac, is it possible that there are other domes in those other 12 areas, or maybe 6 or even 4?
Oh, yeah. I mean, have you followed any of the videos on David Weiss's app or his channel, DITRH?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is it possible there? I'll kind of abbreviate what you're saying. Is it possible there are several domes or a whole bunch of other lands out there, a whole bunch of other puddles? Yeah, you bet.
Yeah,
you bet.
Are they? Here's my question then. My painting, the way I've got it, it's literally just our, let's say, our realm.
Yeah.
The stars we can see.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming there's stars in those other domes. So how many domes do you think I should put in our moon-looking faced area? Does that make sense?
That's up to you. Have you?
Because
Okay, let's do this.
If you look at a projector, a reel on a projector, how it has different holes in it all the way around.
Okay, all right. Wait, stop. This is probably a conversation between you and me at another time. Have you filled this thing in, or is it a sketch already? Or do you already have colors on it?
Are you talking about multiple domes within like where we know what we know as known Earth?
Correct.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Let's put it this way: we know our domes here. What if the areas that we know, let's say they're mapped out on our moon, minus a few land masses? What if there was 6 domes in that, and as we turn, like as we shift in that towards the where are we going to Aquarius?
All right, let's. Okay, we're gonna go to break here in a second, but I wanna cut this short. Do this for me so we can save some time for everybody, including the listeners and Karen, because Karen's gonna have a migraine. Take a picture. Take a picture of whatever you have so far. Right? Take several shots. I don't really care. email them to me. I will look at them and I will run them past some people and we'll give you some sort of opinion. We're not going to give you direction on where you want to go with your painting because the painting is still yours. Your creative process, whatever you want to do. You sound like there's a lot of stuff rattling around your head. Send me the photos. Send me the photos of what you have so far, okay?
Sure.
Do you have my email address?
Well, here's the big question then. Well, crap.
Don't. If you're having a hard time actually creating the question, we're gonna have a harder time following.
This is the question that comes out of this.
Okay.
How do I get my artwork to translate into activism?
Oh.
To be able to get other people to talk to me about it. Usually I just get people go, what the hell's that?
All right. First things first, we got to get you to finish it, whatever it is. Then we're a couple bus rides and a train away from activism with whatever you got. So do this for me, seriously, because we're going to break. Take some pictures of it, send it to me. Let me take a look at it. I'll run it past Karen. I'll run it past some other people, and we'll see what you got. Hell, we'll even run it past Peter. And then, we'll see if there's anything there that doesn't, because if it raises, if it's intriguing enough, sure, great, you might be able to use it in activism. However, if it's too complex, people are going to stare at it like they're looking at a living kaleidoscope, and they're going to be like, what is happening? Anyway, do this, because I got to put you on mute, because we're going to break here in a second. So, but thank you for your call, and you're probably still listening. Email me the stuff. We're going to break. Karen, you got the music?
I do.
Let's do it. But thank you.
Hey, have you ever wanted to learn about crypto? Well, I'm going to tell you about a place where you can go learn about crypto from people that you can trust. It is cryptoclass101.com.au. And this is a class that is put together by Jaren of Jarenism. So you can get a private consultation with Jaren, Scott, Caprice, or Nathan, and they are all very knowledgeable in crypto, and they do beginner to intermediate classes, one-on-one private coaching, buying and selling, swapping, decentralized finance, safety and security, asset recovery, and privacy coins. They can answer just about any question you have. So once again, go to cryptoclass101.com.au and use Karen10 to get 10% off of any service booked. Learn crypto!
Flattoberfest, it's back. Greenville, South Carolina, October 22nd to 23rd. With the grand return of Mark Sargent. And live music from Chief Crow and the Flat Earth Worms. Austin Whitsitt of Whitsitt Gets It. Benjamin Balderson of Olden's Alchemy. Jason Lindgren of Secrets of Saturn and Crow 777 Radio. Marty Leeds of GnosticAcademy.org. One Big Love. How the World Works with Cammy and Zach. And new music by Austin and Kai Whitsitt. Reserve your tickets at flatearthfestivals.com.
be with people that have functioning brains who aren't afraid to show their beautiful faces.
One thing to remember here, if you're making still water, it's always flat, always level. So every little line that you put in it must be basically flat. You can go anywhere you want to go with it, but you have to keep them straight. In still water, it's always flat, always level.
It seems fitting to begin. No one knows what gravity really is. It's one of the unsolved mysteries of the universe. No one knows. No one knows.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 4 of 4. We're in our last segment. It's you, me, Karen B, and Flat Earth Campus activist extraordinaire, Peter Jarvio. Peter, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Well, good. Oh, right. And Peanut Gallery is reminding me, he goes, there are certain people on the phone that you need to pick it up. All right. I am going to pick up. First call is going to be out of Texas again. It's going to be 214, the soft-spoken and yet always uplifting Jan from Dallas. What's happening, Jan?
Well, hello, Mark, Karen, and Peanut. Thank you. Peter, you have us all going bonkers out here. You are terrific.
Thank you.
That's
You're
Jan.
welcome.
She's a regular. She's one of the most optimistic people I've ever met. And if she's saying that you're an optimistic person and you're inspiring, well, take it for what it's worth. A lot.
Well, he's a very special man. I've just totally enjoyed this show. And and also free speech in America. Are you kidding? Sounds like a great idea.
It's wonderful.
And
thank Trump for that.
And was that Marcus Allen, the football player you talked about?
No, different one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wish it had been him. I'm a football fan. So anyway, well, amen, and God bless you, sir, for what you're doing. And you can take the hits, and most Christians can. So anyway, thank you. And I listened to Dave on Coast. What you sent me is very good. And hello to John and everybody. And that's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jan. Have a good one.
Okie doke. You too.
Bye-bye. Oh, Jan. And by the way, I'm a little bit miffed that more people asked me for Dave's Coast to Coast interview than asked me for mine. I did Coast to Coast 7 years ago. And I said last week, I go, if anyone wants to, Dave's Coast to Coast thing, let me know. Just email me. I just got slews of emails. It's like, can you email me the links? It's like, what? You should put it on your app if you're listening, Dave. So I don't have to be your secretary. You know what I mean? Okay. I think I'm fine. Let's go out to North Dakota. 701 out in North Dakota. It's you, me, Karen B, and Peter. What's happening?
Well, hi, Karen B. Hi, Mark.
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going? Yeah, it was good to hear from Jan down in Texas. I know Jan up here, too, and she sounds about exactly the same.
Wow.
Sweet as could be and all that. You know what my favorite thing is?
What?
You know what? When I'm trying to flat smack people and tell them how the world works, well, I remember, all right, Mark says, I was you at one time, so you cannot just try to make them understand something all in like 10 minutes.
Right.
Very, very difficult. I mean, you can't wrap your head around it and listen.
Yes,
10 minutes.
It can be tricky, no question.
That's where the model helps.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, the model does help that, but then they look at that and they look at that like it's a deer in a headlight. What are you showing me here? It's something fancy app on your phone and all that, and they don't even want to look at it. They're just, completely blind.
Yeah,
in one way or another.
So
I had a whole bunch of things I wanted to say, but then when you get me on the phone, I can't remember any of them.
Is it because of the type of alcohol that you're drinking?
Well, I'm drinking Milwaukee Reds right now, and I'm in northeast South Dakota, so yeah.
Northeast
I don't
South
know.
Dakota?
You shouldn't. Northeast South Dakota. Yes.
It's awesome.
But just so you know. But we get the tower out of Washington, and, we get our cell phone signals from the towers, not from the satellite. Of course, we all know that.
Right.
And I tried to explain that to people the other day. They're like, oh, it doesn't just come from right up above. No, it comes from the tower that's 50 miles away.
Right.
So I could either go to Aberdeen or South Dakota, or I could go to Washington, North Dakota, but Washington's closer. So, if you understand anyway. And I was climbing up on top of radio towers the other day, and I was pointing them. Wow, yeah. We still get KVRR out of, that's how we got so we can watch the Minnesota Vikings. And I just set a couple guys up here the other day. Climbed up way up on top of Fort Louis and then top of Fort Jeff Olson over there. Yeah, so I set them all up. I'm like, it's line of sight, fellas. It's line of sight. That's when it comes into the subject matter experts and all that. I tell you what, it's a straight shot all the way there. You can see it when it's dark,
Just so I know,
Yeah.
are you supposed to be? Are you authorized to be up on those towers, or are you just going up on the towers?
No, this is just on the top of houses that are. I live on it's the Katota Prairie.
Oh, okay.
If you want to speak French,
all right.
You can look that up. Katota Prairie.
All right. I'm just checking.
The hills of the prairie is what it means in French. Yes.
All right. Well, anything else? Because there's a couple more calls I want to grab tonight. What's you have anything else?
Well, be patient with people. They can't wrap their heads around this. And I tried to explain it to people, and I don't want it's tough around here too, because there's a bunch of hillbillies that want to fight about over stuff like that. They're so wrapped around that ball, and they just like, oh, there ain't no way. And I'm trying to explain.
You know what? I'd open up. I'd bribe them. Peter gives them little 3D printed models. In your case, I would give them what you have, Milwaukee Red? Is that what you said? I give them a Milwaukee Red and say, hey, do you got 5 minutes?
I was talking cool. I never wore a mask one fucking time. I didn't even hear about it. Shout out to Zulu, by the way, because I really like when he comes on at the end of the show. He's one of my favorite people of all time. But anyways, yeah. God darn it, we didn't even know that anything was going. We didn't shut down nothing. We didn't shut down anything.
Oh,
and I was
South
stocking
Dakota,
coolers
right
like you wouldn't believe at the bars. That when I was after I got done with my workout during the day, and then I'd be stocking coolers at night. No mask one time. I didn't even know about it. Found out later in the. I guess everybody's getting sick. Oh, that sucks to them. But I don't mean to be so mean to them, but God darn it, we never gave two shits about it. I tell you what.
I hear you. No, South Dakota rocks. I love it. Hate to do this to you, but
North Dakota too. Well, I mean, in our little area, and Minnesota, we're kind of in a little triangle region.
Oh yeah, up there near the Iron Range. Hell yeah. Okay, so gotta let you go.
Grab.
Oh, we lost him. Thank you, by the way, for calling in. I wasn't trying to be rude, but I do have to pick up some other calls.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to stop.
Yep.
So let's pick up, let's go out to Vegas. Maybe. No, it's somewhere in Nevada. Maybe near Groom Lake. We'll see. 702. What's happening out there?
Well, how about near the tri-state, California, Nevada, Arizona?
That's close enough. Sure.
Hey, Karen, this is Harmon. How you doing?
Hey, Harmon. Good to hear from you.
I went to Freedom Fest in Vegas last weekend, and it was at the Mirage. It was a huge thing, and that's where mostly, I don't know, I've never been to a Freedom Fest before. Have you?
No, what is that? Who was there?
Freedom Fest, huge people, billionaires and stuff. it's about people who think they can live off the land and they're against that. And I would say they're pretty much all pro government stuff, but a lot of weren't. I wish I could tell you their names. I'm not into reading books and stuff. There's authors there. I mean, it's huge. But the thing is, the guy running Epic Cash, he got a booth down there, and so I went and stood by them and like that. But anyway, so it was like picking. How's Mark say? Shooting fish in a barrel down there. They're more open, and I must. I stood away from the Epic Cash, and I went and walked over to another corner to talk to people because I didn't want to distract from that. It was like shooting fish in a barrel, flat smacking them. It was just they were so receptive. But this is the way I do it now, and I've come to another approach. I don't even really mention flat Earth. I come to, hey, let me ask you guys a question. I said, if you can answer it, and I try to go on things that they know. I said, well, how many months are there in a year? And they'll look at you, and they're afraid to answer. I'm just going, how many months in a year? And I go, 12. I said, yeah, that's man's world, isn't it? Man, man's created that the calendar isn't natural, right? And they start thinking, because they already know this without knowing it. So I try to get that on their thing. And then we go from there, and I said, okay, let's go. Let's go in nature. How many months are in a year? I start thinking. I said, well, let's just see, how does man and nature measure days? How does nature do it? And I walk them through it. I walk them to the moon, and I walk them to the stars, and I walk them to where, just the baby steps. And eventually they go, where do you get all this information? I said, not from man's creation of the ball. I said, we live on a flat plane. And then they accept it. And it was so cool. I just like starting off now asking them, how many months in a year? I don't know what you think about that.
What, you're asking?
Yeah, I'm asking them, what do you think about that approach? Do you like that one? Just talking to them with something we have in common knowledge.
Sure. I mean, it really, it's trial and error, and whatever resonates with them. I mean, with something like that, you're just gonna have to do the numbers. Meaning, if you talk to 10 people and 7 of them are like, "Oh yeah, I'm with you so far," then that's what you use.
It worked on every Well, it depends how you bring it up too. I first get to know them. I want to know who they are. Ask where they're from. You talk to them. It's just people. And then you get to it. I say, look, I'm going to ask you one question and see what you know. And if you know it, let's get some common ground. And I'll just start. How many months in a year? I mean, that's not everyone just doesn't answer right away. No one answers right away
because they think it's a trick.
It's a trick question.
Yeah.
And I tell them, no, you're right. 12 months in the man's calendar year. And then we just go from there. I just thought I'd just share that with you guys. It was nothing, no earth-shattering news or nothing.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Cool. Any
care,
shout-outs?
Hey, thank you. You too.
Any shout-outs?
Yeah, karenbfe. You guys watch her channels and watch Mark. He's put the years in.
Hey,
that's it.
Since 2015. Okay, man. Have a good one.
You put a lot of years in. You really worked.
I have put in some time. Thank you. I appreciate it a whole bunch.
All right.
Have a good one. All right. We got time for at least one more, I think. You know what? Let's pick up, before we pick up New York, let's go out to BC, which is in Canada, which is very close to where they shot all of the Game of Thrones. So,
yeah.
What is happening up there?
Hi. I'm sorry, I missed the whole show. I've been here at the cabin with the family, and I just did a whole bunch of dishes.
Boy. You missed the whole show?
Whoops. Sorry. That was a laundry money. Sorry. Whoops. Sorry.
Sorry. That's how you know she's from Canada. Because if she says sorry more than twice in one sentence. The show was about Flat Earth Campus activism. We had a special guest named Peter Jarvio, who's still on right now listening to you. So he's done fantastic work for us.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm here with a whole bunch of people that are not flat earthers, and if I bring it up, I always get shot down. But we're in Sasquatch country right now. We've been sharing some Sasquatch stories and all that. But I'm just absolutely flaked
I
out
love
from doing dishes and stuff.
I love that, by the way, that Sasquatch, because Vancouver Island up in Canada is the highest concentration of Sasquatch sightings in the world. And yet, Flat Earth, no, that's crazy. Whole island full of giant primate things, but nope, Flat Earth, that's nuts. That's fine.
I know, yeah, I know. Where we have the cabin here, that was a bunch of people. It's RV lot, and there's been tales of the Sasquatch running through, and hairy arms, and faces in windows, and all sorts of things. Plus, all the we're actually in an old gold mining town with lots of history behind it, and like knocks on the door and snow, and then no footprints. It's really got a lot of history here. So. But I realized it was like 8:10, and it was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing Strange World, and then I got talked into more dishes, and then I just tuned in now, and I'm really upset because I missed the whole show. So I'm going to have to listen to your guests and everything.
That's right. It's a good show. You should listen to it. The reruns. It's also on Karen's channel and a whole bunch of other places, and it's also on my YouTube channel. The rerun. So.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Yeah, I've never watched Game of Thrones. Any shout out to you,
watched
Karen,
Game of Thrones?
Zulo. What's happened to Dottie? You don't have Dottie on. Where's Dottie?
Oh, she's around. Don't worry. People drift in and out of different circles. Yeah. Dottie, I'm sure, is fine. Anyway, any shout outs? Because I do want to pick up at least one more call.
Just hi from Canada and the campsite, and hello, and I'll catch the show, and I'll talk to you next week when I have more time.
All right, and look this up because it applies to you. Winter is coming. All right, see ya. Let's go to 845. Here we go. Ready? The sun will come out because I'm trying to be optimistic. Tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow, with Truth Smacks,
there'll be yes, Truth Smacks. There'll be sun with Truth Smacks.
Hey man, what's going on?
Hey Mark, hey Karen, hey Peter, hey Peanut. Cool show.
Hey.
Definitely, dude. Kudos to you, Peter, because I can't do that. I have no patience. I would just throw punch everybody. There's just I can't look into their blank stares.
Yeah, there's certain people I would never recommend for activism for Flat Earth, and you are one of them, no question.
Yeah, I can't. I can't.
All the TikTok videos would be the same. It'd be like crazy man throttling a student, saying, "What is wrong with you?"
Oh my god. Yeah, more power to you, dude, for real. Like it's a very difficult thing to have the patience. Like I understand definitely feeling people out because I do it, and I definitely start with all the NASA stuff because they want to say it's real, and I'm going to tell you, here's your shit, and it's so fake. What are you talking about? How can you even stand there and tell me it's real? So, yeah, exactly. I definitely start there, too. But I don't have the patience.
Sorry, what else? What else, Lulu?
Oh, no, it's cool. It's cool. Actually, I wanted to ask, Peter, what was the best interaction? Like, what was the one that, like, the person lit up the most and was like, wow, this is so awesome, thank you. Like I'm sure you've had that.
Oh yeah, I
probably not as much as the negative, but
I get that a lot. But one campus I've been to the two, there's a couple campuses, within about 15 miles. And the one I went back, I've been going for about 3 semesters to the same school. And this guy comes up to me last semester with his roommate, and he says, let me show you something. He takes out his smartphone, pulls up some photos. He's had all these flat earth posters in his dorm room. He says, you convinced me it was flat. He says, I changed my major to physics so I can help convince people that it's flat. That was
nice.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, like, my quote, my Mark Twain quote, it's easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled.
Yes.
It's so hard to crack that nut. They don't want to hear it. At least
the programming's so
feel.
effective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the programming is strong with this one, for sure.
Very, very true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's and what else do you have, Zulu? Because I want to give Peter a chance to give out all his info.
Sure. I was curious if you heard anything about why France was shutting down their nuclear power plants all over the place. Like 43% of them they've shut down, and they're messing around. And then somebody was talking about Hoover Dam, that the water level is so low they may be shutting down the generators there.
There was an explosion at Hoover Dam today.
Yeah, that was a transformer.
Yep, I heard something about that.
Transformer
that was what?
blew, a transformer blew at the bottom of the dam, which could be related to the low levels. When it comes to the whole French thing, and it's not just France, it's all the other countries. But we'll just pick on France for now. France is making bad decisions. It's all about the Great Reset. I don't want to necessarily get in the headlines because this is Peter's show. Just know that next week we're going to talk about the fact that Russia is going to put an energy stranglehold on Europe that is going to be the closest thing to biblical I've ever seen. And Europe doesn't have any recourse right now, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah, France, whatever France is doing right now, well, it doesn't really matter because they're baking, and London, hit 104.
Well, it seems like they're playing right into it, like they're part of it. They're like, oh yeah, we got to shut this down because they want to bend us over.
Yeah, it's a good plan. It's a good plan. But again, we'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about it a little bit in after hours. By the way, we do an after hours thing sometimes after the show, Peter. And I don't know how late you stay up. You seem like a pretty clean cut guy. But if you want, you are more than welcome to join and say hi.
Sure.
The language and the topics, it's mostly child trafficking, white slavery, that sort of stuff. So anyway.
I got nothing.
Do join us. It's a tough crowd. So before I let you go, because we're running out of time here, how can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about flat Earth activism and where to do it and everything they need to know? How can they reach you, or do you want them to reach you?
I don't have an online presence. I like face-to-face.
Well,
but
yes, I know, but is there an email you'd like to give out, or do you want me to give it out through my channel?
Yeah, you can give out my email and my primary phone number that you use.
Okay.
If you want to put that on your channel, that'd be fine.
Okay. Well, here's what I'll do. If anyone wants to get a hold of Peter, they got questions for Peter, if you want to call him, if you want to email him, shoot an email to me or a phone number to me or a phone call to me, and I will pass on the information. I won't give it out on air just so the trolls, keep the trolling to the minimum, although our show doesn't get a lot of trolls, mostly because of Karen's witch-like powers and the fact that the trolls don't like messing with her at all. She is by far my protector. What else? What else that we didn't cover that you'd like to throw out there to people, Peter?
For people that like to flat smack people, I'd recommend going to a college close by and just give it a try. Takes a minimum investment, and just go and try it, and you might find out that you like it.
Would you recommend, by the way, because I noticed you weren't doing this, would you recommend, if people don't think they have a good projecting voice, would you recommend a little microphone and a speaker? Would you recommend anything along those lines, or do you think that'd be too much in people's faces?
I don't think it's needed.
Okay. I also noticed you're not wearing a lab coat. You don't feel that's not your thing.
No.
Wow. Again, more power to you. The fact that you're doing this without props. I don't think I could do it without props.
I have my posters.
That is true. You do have your posters.
And models.
And again, if anyone, I still believe in power in numbers. And, I've done activism with small groups as two. I've never had to do it solo. But, again, what I'm going to do, Peter, is if I run into any producers that want to get a hold of somebody, every once in a while, I wish you were around a couple of years ago. when we were doing this, and you and I had already talked, because I honestly think they could do a little mini documentary on you, just following you to campuses and doing a montage, because I think it'd be intriguing as hell. So, any closing words before we will go to do our standard thing? Any last thoughts by you?
No, I think we've pretty much covered
all right
the topic. I do one thing I didn't mention. I especially enjoy talking to Christians because they believe we have common ground. They believe the Bible, and the Bible has the Bible's all about the flat Earth. It talks about the dome firmament, the Earth being a footstool. Of course, footstools don't move.
Right.
So the Bible is a flat Earth book. So it's if they don't believe me, I appeal to a higher authority, which for a Christian is the Bible. So I have a sheet of scriptures that some of the main scriptures printed out. So I give that out to Christians for, like I said, if they don't believe me, I just appeal to the higher authority.
All right. Last thing before I let you go, do you know what campus you're going to be on next?
I've got a couple in mind.
Do you have any dates though? Anything like that?
I usually wing it. It depends on the weather forecast. Different areas have different forecasts, but probably the couple of my next ones, Appalachian State and Fort Wayne, Indiana University in Fort Wayne.
Okay.
I would like to get, and I am planning to go back to Purdue sometime. That was such a great experience the first time, I've had so many people that I'll probably plan a second trip for Purdue.
All right. Yeah, if by chance that you know where you're going to be a few days in advance, I'd be happy to promote it on my channel. Say that, hey, if anyone wants to meet Peter out on such and such campus, I will do that for you, okay?
Okay.
All right. With that, let's do a threesome. You ready? Here we go. Before we do, we'll be back next week, same flat time, same flat channel. Nods, Peanut. And say goodnight, Karen.
Good night, Karen.
And say goodnight, Zulu.
Good night, Zulu.
And say goodnight, Peter.
Good night, Peter.
Perfect. Good night, everybody.
Shout out to Milwaukee Red.
And of course, hot sex. Cue music.
Oops, I turned it.
Hot sex.
Recording stopped.
I'll send you a link if you're interested, okay, Peter?
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me and Mark Sargent and our guest for another episode of Strange World. You can join us back here every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific and 10 p.m. Eastern. I'll be back here for sure on Monday morning, Moonday morning, with another episode of Coffee Talk. And also, if you're interested, I do anti-religious scripture study.